So I gotta confirm. So what you want to be very interesting. Well, it's not very interesting, but I realize ukianza create YouTube videos, this is what happens. Or my videos, this is what happens. Unajipata ukifikiria venye. Like there are some things that we hear all the time on YouTube that unajipata nyo umezisema. Kama sahi nilikuwa nimeanza kusema welcome to my channel, nikaanza kusema welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel. Juu nimesikia kila mahali, so sijui kama kuna mtu mwenye ame copyright. I don't know if anybody has copyrighted this phrase, but I see why it is ni phrase anyway, like it just works. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Inasound mini professional YouTuber. I thought weddings and marriage. No, we actually want to talk about weddings today. So yeah. So today anytime from being a video ikienda more than like 20 minutes manze ndakuwa nimejilet down sana juu I'm over here today. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Yani short and sweet. It's just my opinions of things that people do during weddings. And like I said, I think I realized I need to be saying this at the introduction of every video. These are just my opinions, my thoughts. You may agree, you may disagree. Whatever you feel, it's okay. Feel free to, if okay feel umeguzwa sana kabisa, feel free to leave a comment hapo on nijue venye una feel about these things, whether you agree or disagree. I don't know, but these are just all completely totally just my thoughts. I also I've never been married. I have never been married. I've never been the bride in a wedding. So kuna venye napeana opinions zangu from the point of view of somebody who's never been married or never been in sijai kwa hiyo gown ya white. So sijui venye mtu akivanga hiyo gown huwa anafilaje, sijui what happened. I don't know what happened. So my opinions are completely mine and completely inexperienced and not, my experience, my opinions. Nivo niachie hapo nimedisclaim ni kama sijui nini. Okay. So weddings. This conversation is inspired by a video that I watched, but also by something that I feel that we do a lot, like some things about weddings that I don't necessarily understand. Things that I wonder, I maybe when I do get to the point where I'm the bride, I'm the one in the white gown, maybe I will do these things or become this person who I'm going to talk about. I don't know. But now the record is out there. So if I become this person, I know people going to come at me and be like, I thought you said, but for now, let me just give my opinions. So, number one, why is it that the wedding day is the bride's day? Kuna honga na hiyo notion ya it's the bride's day. Why? Somebody help me understand. This one actually I think is generally just a question. I don't think I even have anything more to say or to add. It's actually a genuine question. Why is it considered only the bride's day, in the sense that it being the bride's day carries the connotation or the suggestion or the idea that like she's the one who gets to everything's about her and what she wants and what she feels. So if she wants tulips or roses or I don't know what, it's up to her. There's no consultation about, honey, what kind of flowers do you think we should have at our wedding? What kind of food should we have at our wedding? What colors do you think would be good for our, me, I want maroon and you want, okay, what are we gonna do? How do we, come to this compromise? I feel, there is so much of this. It's the bride's day, and so everything is about her and what she wants. And I really wonder, is she marrying herself? Or I would assume it is at this stage when we are planning a wedding that this is the first time that this union of two people is getting to make decisions, serious decisions, and learning to work together and compromise, because their tastes will be different. The number of guests I guess they plan to invite and all those little details that are normally planned and arranged during weddings are all going to be different. And if we start on the foot of this one is my day and therefore I get to dictate everything that happens, I just find it so, I don't understand it. So somebody help me understand why it's completely the bride's day and why it can't be like, it's one thing if the groom is also just like he's like, I'm easy with whatever. And when I think, look at me digressing, you see how I'm digressing? I feel that if I was to get married and the groom is like, honey, anything is fine, anything is fine. Oh, you want pink flowers? Okay. You want this? Okay. With no say, with no giving his opinions, I would feel like I'm doing this alone. I don't understand why this can't be like, why are we not having opinions if we're going to taste the cakes and decide what cake we're going to have for our wedding? I don't understand why I should go alone and be the sole decision maker, when I would, for example, choose a red velvet cake or a fruit cake or whatever, and you're a chocolate guy. Why can we not talk about this together? I don't understand it. Number two. So that's just this one was more of a question. I just don't get it. My opinions are that this is a day for both bride and groom, rather, husband and wife, whatever, and they should both have a say in the planning and in the arrangement and organization of everything, and if I just think it's both your day. You're both gonna look back on this day and be like, oh, so I don't want my husband looking back on this day and feeling like he just walked into some party that was organized for him. We didn't remember anything about the planning process. Then he just walked into this party and found everything ready, and it was just alifika tu arrived. That was his job, to arrive, and I'm just like, okay, to arrive, and of course we'll talk about later to pay, but so number one, I personally feel like the idea that this is the bride's day is one that I don't understand. I don't understand where it comes from and what the notion is behind it being the bride's day vis-a-vis the day for the couple, the two of them. I don't know. So yeah, moving on. Number two, relatives during weddings. Jesus. Relatives during weddings. Oh my days. The amount of pressure. This is going to be tied to a number of thoughts now, Kuchini, but the amount of pressure that comes from relatives and especially relatives in our culture, in our community, the amount of pressure that comes from relatives during weddings, I mean, it is insane. You have, and I'm not saying, I mean, it's great to have your relatives attend the wedding, especially relatives that who you have interacted with in your life, but when you have sister ya uncle ya brother ya nephew ya nani mwenye huwa hamuongei lakini lazima akuje kwa wedding nani, yani the distance in the relationship, like literally your relationship is so distant with some of these relatives, you could literally get married to them because you're in a long distance relationship. Like you guys could get married because it is that far apart. Your relativity, your relations are that far apart, so all this pressure around the relatives and what was I saying again? Oh, relatives and the pressure, I think, from what I see when I see the pressure that comes with inviting relatives and all kinds of relatives, I usually somehow feel like all this is just pressure to impress people, because the parents of the bride or the groom, they want because they want everybody as far as, if we can trace down our bloodline mpaka Noah, we'll invite everybody in that tree because everybody needs to see that my son or my daughter is getting married or is marrying, because in this life, marital status it's a status in life. There's a chair that you panda, when you move from layman single people to married person, there is a social status in which you climb. And I feel like so much of the wedding day is the symbolizing of that climbing of the marital status, and it does something to the family name when we have all these people involved and they all know and they need to come and see that it's a big wedding. It's a huge grand occasion in which we have poured crazy amounts of money, and so we want people to be impressed by the climbing of societal status, and also the fact that tuko na do sisi hii area hatuna shida tuko sawa, and I know, yes, it's not always the case. Yes, you want people around you during your wedding, you want the people around you who you love, to celebrate with you, to be happy with you. But then I feel like we go so far, like we make it so excess. Like when we have weddings of 1,000 people, whomst are these people? who are these people? As in, how many of them are really close? And when I talk about relatives now, I'll just extend this a little bit to also not just relatives, but also just friends and people, just people in general. You know, like if I'm at a wedding and I have 1,000 people at my wedding, kusema tu ukweli, who are 1,000 people? Who? As in, when I'm looking through my videos later on for my wedding day, I'm gonna be like, who is that? And who's that? And who was that? And who was that? And why did we invite them? And when did we invite them? And when did I even know them? Who are they? Wao ni kina nani jumisi wajui? You know? And this is my the video for my wedding, you know? Like, I just find it so interesting how we do that. And there is the need or the desire to celebrate with people, but then I feel like, man, we go so far, you know, in inviting billions of people who really did not need to, they did not contribute to the happiness of the occasion, truly contribute to the happiness of the occasion, right? So if there's no reason why we are normally inviting 1 million people to our weddings, people who we don't know, relatives who we've never heard of or interacted with, if somebody knows why this happens, aside from the need to brag about the climbing of status and the amount of money that we have, if there's another reason which I don't know, feel free to let me know, okay? Number 3, money. Of course, now money is like money. Money at weddings. Oh my days. Okay. So first of all, I will just relate this to the first point about the wedding day being the bride's day, and for the few weddings that I have maybe not necessarily attended or something like that, but at least from hearing stories and things like those, you see or hear of a wedding where, okay, so the bride is the one deciding on what she wants because it is her day, and therefore the groom, it's the groom's responsibility to pay for all these things. Now, what I find extremely hilarious is that when he is spending the money, he's not spending his money, he's spending your money. Ni pesa yenu inatumiwa, because once you guys are actually united, like after the wedding day, you guys become a union. So if this guy has gone into debt to finance the wedding that you want, because you want $1 million wedding with the Range Rover and the Mercedes and the limousine, ooh, God forbid hakuna limousine kwa wedding, you haikuwa wedding, you know, like, so if he has to, you know, do the most to make sure there is all, you know, the whole procession and all the chairs are dressed and we have all these kinds of flowers and not that it's bad, you know, if it's within budget, you knock yourself out. But if your husband, your groom, is having to go out of his way to get into debt to pay for these things that I will just mention, or, you know, these things are one day things, one day. So he's going to go into debt, paying for one single day. And once you guys are united, you know who the debt lies on. It is now a shared debt. Like, deni ni yenu sasa. So if you guys were to spend the rest of, you know, like the 6 months in the beginning of your wedding, you know, living a good life and just being chill and relaxed and everything, if that's what was going to happen, then now you're going to have to both cut back on some significant things because there is a loan being paid for one day. One day, like this, siku moja, as in, like, and I see, in fact, it's not even a whole entire day. It's like from 10 a.m. until the evening party ends. Maybe you guys are feeling party, so it ends at midnight or whatever. Basically, it's one day, less than 12 hours, right? So, or 24 hours, you know. So, if it is within your budget, if you guys can comfortably pour millions of shillings on that wedding, and you still have, you know, you're still comfortable, you know, in the sense that you won't live there and you're not in debt and you're not owing people money, you know, and you're not starving or homeless for the coming, you know, next couple of months. If you guys can afford to do that, then you'll knock yourself out within budget, right? So this idea that it's the bride's day and therefore she gets to get everything that she wants and he gets to pay for it no matter what. The problem is that the consequences will follow you, because once you guys are united like this, that debt is now shared. That debt is now shared. It's not his. He's not the one shouldering this responsibility, because even if he's the one paying for it, when you're going to be asking to go out, to be taken out for dates and everything, he's just like, yeah, well, hiyo pesa ya date kuna venye tulimaliza tukiwa wedding, tulikula hiyo pesa yote ya nini. So sahii kenye tutafanya for the next 6 months tutakula tu ugali na sukuma. In fact, sukuma ni expensive. Tukule tu ni managu na ikienda sana kiterere na as in some way or another, you're going to have to pay for it, to both of you as a family, you know, because that's what you now become. So it's wonderful. I guess it's nice that you want your day and you want it as fabulous and glamorous, or we as women and ladies, we want the day to be great and fabulous and glamorous and all kinds of wonderful things. But where is the reason? Where is the balance? Where is the realization that it's not just his money you're spending? This is now our money that's being spent, right? So let me not repeat that 1,000,001 times. And then the things that the money is actually going into, right? We are spending hundreds of thousands of shillings, if normally on a regular basis hundreds of thousands of shillings are this is your normal, this is the way you operate, you know. You go out on a weekend, you pour 50k, you go out on a dream, you pour I don't know how much money, you know. If that is generally how you operate, cool beans. But if hundreds of thousands of shillings is something that you have never seen in your entire life, you have never actually had access to make a decision and say, I want to buy something worth 100,000 shillings or 50,000 or 60, you know, like that is money that you struggle to get. And now we are going to pour hundreds of thousands of shillings into flowers and chairs and tables and tents and cars. You know, you probably don't even, as a couple, you may not even have a car, but then you want to drive into your wedding in a limousine or a Range Rover or a Mercedes or a Bentley of some kind. You want this kind of things. You want to rent out these cars so that the wedding can be glamorous for observers. I'm just finding it so interesting, you know. So you're gonna pour all this money on stuff that you generally, you know, in your everyday lives do not usually interact with. And I get it is definitely a big day. And if I'm not saying that you walk to your wedding, nobody's saying that we want the bride over here ameshikilia nguo akitembea. Nobody's saying anything like that. No, get a car for sure. But this going out of our way to have this procession when we can't afford it, I don't understand it. So the story that I was hearing the other day was about someone who took a loan. They took a loan to finance their wedding. Now, I know, manzi, we're out here taking loans for everything. You know, we're taking loans for cars, we're taking loans for... But we're taking loans for our wedding. So that after the wedding day, this is something that I wanted to talk about after the wedding day. So that after the wedding day, we are starting life in debt. Yani tayari, tunaanza tu maisha, tukiwa kwa deni. And sometimes, we have taken a loan to pay for whatever we've paid for, all these charades, the Range Rovers and the cars and the big, you know, the big event and the millions of people at the wedding. And then, hakuna honeymoon. Somebody explain to me what exactly is going on, right? So, the thing about taking loans, and taking loans is also very closely related to hizi machama, makomiti za kuraise pesa ya wedding. Unajua mimi by I find it very funny. Kusema tu ukweli, tuko na chama, committee ya kuraise pesa ya wedding. Now, sisemi that, you know, people, you know, will be friends, family, whatever, may want to contribute, may want to help out with the expenses, because definitely it's an expensive affair, getting married, having a wedding. It's an expensive affair. And it's one thing for people to want to contribute, you know, want to help defray the costs of, you know, running that wedding successfully, feeding people in the venue and all those things that, anyway, some of them are just basic, they have to happen, right? It's a whole other thing for people to be pulled into these committees, forced to contribute. And by the way, we need to discuss the meaning of the word contribute or volunteer or donate, because ukiwa umelazimishwa umeingia kwa committee unajipata unaambiwa, so everybody in this committee will be required to donate 5,000 shillings to help the couple to be able to pay for their day. Guys, the meaning of the word donate ni kupeana voluntarily. Hakuna mtu amekwambia how much utatoa. Ni wewe uangalie mfuko yako, uangalie moyo wako, uamue between my heart and my pocket I decide that I can give this much. But you know watu huwa wanaambiwa we are required to donate. We are required to volunteer to give a certain contribution. Are you hearing the paradox in that statement? We are required to donate and to volunteer and donation and like niaje guys, tumepoteza Kiingereza hapo, like just we are lost, right? So between getting into debt and also forcing people to find money in places where they are struggling to meet not needs but luxuries of a wedding, I just find is hilarious. It's one thing for us to go into a committee where we are raising money for sick people. You guys, yeah. But we are raising money for wedding. Unajua sasa zile mlikam together. Mlikuwa mnajua budget yenu na finances zenu. Mlikuwa mnajua kama mko na 100,000. Mimi nikiwa na 100,000 between me and poverty. Amta ni stress. Sita stressiwa na mtu. That is, my wedding will cost me 100,000 shillings. That is how much my wedding will cost me. Unless people want to donate, maybe they're here to volunteer to give something, or they're heading on a wedding, or unless, you know, my mom is feeling all generous and she's like, apa santa mwaga 1,500. And other people are just like, hata mimi nitaongeza 1,800. Whomst am I to refuse? I am nobody. Not to mention, sometimes when it comes to this issue of money, is there is usually the situation where if I am asked, I want 50 people at my wedding, but because I have family, you know, immediate family, extended family, friends of my immediate family and extended family will want to also have their people. Now, if you want to have a say and you want to have all these people come to my wedding, then please feel free to get into your pocket and utoe pesa yao watu wote. Juu kama mimi najua nikiamua nitaoa nani, nitaoa Dani leo, niamua mimi na Dani ni kitu moja, by the way we want to get married. Na by the time tunaamua tunataka get married, we are not in the best place in life. So si ati tuko na millions of shillings. Sasa, it is not, I don't think it is our responsibility now to start asking people to help us to get married. As in, nothing is stopping us from getting married. If you want to get married and you have 10k, mkimbia hapa kwa IG na get married. Hizi parties zingine you can have them later. So, what I'm trying to say is the way we handle money and how we view money during weddings, I just find something that I don't understand, you know. Having to beg people or to get into debt, to get into debt is a premise that I don't understand, because I mean, yeah, I've talked about that. So what else? Yeah, still about money. So when I think about why is it that we spend so much money on weddings, and when I think of this story that I had about somebody who took a loan for his wedding, and then, you know, and all of the loan went into the wedding day, like all the money that they had, all of it combined went into the wedding day, I just find it so interesting, you know, like all of this is because of, it's to satisfy or to fulfill some societal notion or requirement. You know, you need to have 1, 2, 3, 4. Not because you need it, but because you want to invite 700 people, right, to your wedding, and therefore your budget has to be 1.4 million, money that you have never imagined of. What was I saying? How was saying? This idea, this life that we are living, where we are satisfying societal notions and standards and constructs, you know, we are the pressure to live for others, to make decisions that make us look okay according to society, not because it doesn't, like, not because we are doing very badly, but because by societal standards we need to look a certain way, and making decisions based off of that pressure, I feel, is truly insane. I wish we would make decisions in accordance to our circumstances. If my circumstances do not allow me to have certain people at my wedding and certain luxuries at my wedding, what is the important thing? To have those luxuries, or to have a wedding day that I will love, enjoy, appreciate, look back on, and remember laughing with my friends and family, and truly just having a good time at my wedding, because that is what it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be stressful, and because of all that is normally required of people, weddings become so stressful. You know, like it's your wedding day, but you are stressed and worried, and like, you know, and even the period leading to the wedding is extremely stressful. And I feel like that is not necessarily how it's meant to be. I know everything can't be fully, completely idealistic to a point where we are like, you know, so everything is working out the right way, and there's no stress, you know, at all, because you're planning an event. Of course there's going to be some level of stress, but I feel like we do things that truly, you know, multiply the amount of stress that needs to be had by the couple, by the people getting married. So I just feel like it's really, really unnecessary, you know, the lengths that people go to just to prove certain things to your friends or to your colleagues or to your family, you know. I just find that it is truly, genuinely ridiculous. Okay. The other interesting thing that people do that I don't understand is when people sacrifice the honeymoon, but you had a wedding where you paid 1,000,000 shillings or close to 1,000,000 shillings or whatever, na kwenda juu, na hata mlichukua loan na mlikuwa na 150,000 people at your wedding, alafu muka sacrifice honeymoon. Am I the only one who just thinks that is absolutely insane? That is absolutely insane, especially for when I think of us here in this country, in Kenya. This country is teeming with beautiful locations, you know, for beautiful and affordable locations for honeymoon. Like now, kwanza, with Bountiful Adventures and all these guys who have this kind of these packages, you could get a nice holiday honeymoon thingy for like 50-60K, you know. And that is like for a couple of nights, 4 nights kwenda juu. And I'm like, you spent 1,000,000 shillings on others, on what, on living up to what you want people, or creating a visual of what you want other people to think of you as a couple or you as a person, whichever. But it wasn't important enough for you guys to actually have time together. So it was more important for us to give people, to show people what they want to see. It's more important for us to be viewed a certain way, and therefore, because we want to be viewed a certain way, we need to have certain luxuries at our wedding. We need to have the big cars, we need to have the great dresses, we need to have the 15 million bridesmaids, we need to have all those things. But we did not spare 60,000 shillings for our honeymoon. I mean, for me, that just shows how crazy, how ridiculous it is that people are out here living for other people, living for the perception. We want to be perceived in a certain way, and we will go to whatever lengths for us to keep that perception, for us to have people perceive us in a certain way. We will go to whatever lengths, even if it means sacrificing something that is very crucial. Now, me, I don't know about you or about you all, but mimi honeymoon honeymoon ni mambo yote. Nikiwa na budget ya 100,000 for my wedding, nusu ni ya honeymoon, by the way. Kama wedding yangu itakuwa na mimi, my immediate family, and my husband and his immediate family, ni sawa. If we have decided to get married and the point at which we are at is that enyewe mbele nyuma tuko na 100,000, by the way, imagine honeymoon tutaenda hata kama tukimbia hapa Naivasha for 1 night hivi ama 2, hiyo ni uongo. But for the sake of the audience and for the sake of, you know, flexibility, tuseme tunaweza kimbia hapa Naivasha for 2 nights ama 3 nights, or 3 nights, tukienda tu chini sana kwa 3 nights, jamani, 2 nights. Anyway, economy ni mbaya, so you know, tukimbia hapa Naivasha for 3 nights at least. After kuplan wedding for 17 years, tumeplan wedding, tumekuwa na stress, alafu hakuna siku ya kudecompress. After the wedding day tuende home, tuanze kuosha vyombo. It's a joke, by the way, it's a joke. So I feel like honeymoon is really an important part of this whole situation. It's important too. You've been planning the wedding for so long, and then you want to start on this nice, sweet, wonderful note of honeymoon, and we go and we just relax for a couple of days, and it's just the very essence of what a honeymoon is meant to be, I feel, is quite important. Now, if the budget that I have is 10,000 shillings to get married, which means we are completely that broke. Tutaenda kwa IG, alafu honeymoon tutaenda at the end of the year. Tutasave tuende at the end of the year. But hakuna venye nita invite 200 people to my wedding, wakuje wakule keki, wasijue wafanye nini, tuingie na magari, tuingie na masijuma braids za ngapi, alafu tukimaliza hiyo story yote turudi home. Tulikuwa na pesa ya watu wengine but hatukuwa na pesa yetu ya kwenda honeymoon. Is a joke. Is a joke. I've refused that story. So I don't also get the reasoning or the logic behind sacrificing some things, you know, the thing that I feel is now for the two of you. You're building this union, the two of you. All the 300, 700 people who are at this wedding will not be in your house. They will not be there when you guys are struggling without food. They will not be there when you feel bitter because your husband never had a honeymoon for you. They will not be there. They will not be there. It's just you and your husband, or you and your wife, you know. So in summary, I wish we would consider the more important things of the wedding day, because that is another thing. The wedding day ni siku moja, emwe one day like this, right? So I wish we would consider the more important things of the wedding day, as opposed to, you know, creating a perception that may not necessarily be accurate. Cool. Is there anything else I want to say? Let me see. I think that was it. So I think my take home from all of this, or like what I feel, is that one, the wedding day is one day. That is something that men really need to keep in mind. It is the beginning of a lifetime of marriage. The wedding day is the door. It's just the door. By the way, if you're entering a room or a hall, a very long hall that is not ending, the wedding day, niyo mlango tu. Now, if you're going to spend millions of shillings on this mlango, and then the key issues, you know, inside the room, matters are not actually great and satisfactory and good for both of you, both of us, myself and my husband, then what are we doing? I don't understand what we're doing. You know, doing this for everybody, spending millions of shillings, or basically spending money that is outside of our budget on the door, so that people can look at the door and be like, wow, you guys, did you see venye Michelle na Dani walifanya hivi na hivi, na hiyo mlango yao ilikuwa poa, lakini ukinya hiyo room ni uchafu. Is not good, is not right? It's one day, it's a great day, it's important, it's really important. It's one of the biggest commitments that we make in our lives when we get married, right? So definitely there is, you know, if there can be an event about it, yeah, sure, let there be an event about it. It's also a happy day, you know, we're celebrating out here, finding life partners. It's wonderful, but you're within reason, okay? Number two, I don't think, let me just say, see, it's my channel, I'm saying my opinions. It's not the bride's day. It's the day for husband and wife. It's the day for husband and wife. Decisions are made by the two of you, for the two of you. Yes, you know, you get some, you know, leeways because maybe he's not really interested, or he doesn't really care about the flowers or whatever, and that's fantastic. But the full idea that he should just acquiesce to everything because it is my day. Honey, you're not gonna give me those flowers, and you're not gonna give me this because it's my day, and you know, I've always dreamed of this day since I was 2, and now, honey, you have to give me everything I want. Man, if he digs his pocket into the state where there is now a hole in his pocket, and so he is in debt, then y'all are both in debt. You are starting life behind. You're starting life one step behind. Don't you want to start life, you know, at least once? I can't make equalize. Me, best case scenario, actually, or perfect case scenario, we have a small intimate wedding where I know people. When I'm looking at my pictures and watching the videos, I don't want to be thinking, who are these people? Who are these people? You know? So I don't want to be thinking that. Number one, so small and intimate. 2, honeymoon. Ni lazima kama kuna budget ya honeymoon. By the way, honeymoon we're not sacrificing. We're not sacrificing the honeymoon so that we can have a limousine. Nope. We're not sacrificing the honeymoon so that people can eat lobster or what? Nah. Nope. Number 3, if at all possible, budget yote inafanywa ina include the first couple of months rent kwenye tutaishi, unless of course huyu mwanaume ako na nyumba yake tayari, in which case siwezi kata. Imagine just in case tayari uko na nyumba yako, una feel ni kama ulikuwa unataka kufanya hiyo kitu, si ati nakata watu wako na nyumba. Imagine, no. But in case hauna nyumba, sitaki tukue month one tayari tuna struggle na kwenye rent inatoka. Imagine we have just gotten married and we have spent so much money, alafu unajua watu kwa weddings wanatanga masufuria na cooking pan na masijui manini, so hamna nyumba lakini mko na cooking pans. Wow, very brilliant. So I do not want that. The first month we're not struggling. The second month, if at all possible, if the rent for the first 3 months can be taken care of, that would be fantastic. You know, so the first 3 months we are still kind of prolonging our honeymoon and getting to know each other. And at least if I'm pissed at you because you normally leave your socks everywhere, don't you leave your socks everywhere. But if I'm upset about that, then at least I'm not also upset about the fact that we don't have money for rent or for certain things, you know. So tukue too balanced, I think is all I'm trying to say. Let's be balanced. I think that is about it. I will end there. Thank you. See, I've tried today. How many minutes are this? I don't know because the video kept cutting, so I don't know how many minutes these are, but probably 20. I've tried. Cindy, I've tried. Thanks. Thanks. Yeah, so thanks for watching. Those were just, like I said, those were just my opinions, my feelings, my unexperienced, never been in this circumstance, don't know, but these are just my opinions from what I observe and what I feel is ridiculous. And I truly hope that when if or when my day, it's time for me to get married, I hope I will not put on that white dress and suddenly become that person who needs 17 Range Rovers and 5 million limousines and all those kind of things. And I'm just like, no, people need to know that we are doing well. And then my husband would be like, so we're going to need to cancel the honeymoon if you want all those things. And I'll be like, it's okay, honey, we'll go for the honeymoon another time. Yani, if I become those people, guys, punch me in the gut, punch me, and you just punch me and slap me and all those kinds of things and show me this video, so that, because like that would just be crazy. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you have any opinions, feel free to leave a comment hapo chini. Very much appreciated. See you next time. Bye.